boxing name in the history of sports, Rocky Balboa. The most electrifying man in sports entertainment, The Rock. But the most electrifying man in Kentucky high school wrestling is our guest here today. Sir, if you would, tell us who you are.
My name is Robert Rocky Durham. Went by Rocky pretty much most all my life.
And that was what my implication was. We got to add Rocky. We got to add the Rock in somewhere. So you get the title of the most electrifying man in Kentucky wrestling. So Rocky, man, people around the sport since sometime in the 2000s have seen you at the state tournament, regional tournament, state duels. So kind of walk us through your wrestling. Do you wrestle? Because most people don't know this. Do you wrestle in school? Like, when do you find wrestling? How do you get into refereeing?
Well, I started wrestling in high school. Just some friends, recruiting us in the hallway. I'd done it and just I loved it. It was just something that really stuck with me. And then after I graduated, I went back and helped out for about 2 years, and then got on the coaching staff, and was actually about ready to become the head coach at my old school, Dawes High School in Louisville, and just started a family. And there was always a guy that was in my ear telling a lot of us young guys, why don't you get into officiating? It was a guy named David Barnett. So I went that avenue. I signed up. I believe it was 2001. It was my first season. I started officiating, and found out it was a lot less time consuming, but it was something I really just struck a love with. I mean, it gets in your blood. It's something, it's hard to explain.
It is. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And of course, you mentioned Dave Barnett. His officials perspective video is on the channel. So after you get done watching, Rocky's video, go back and check out Dave. Dave gives a lot of great information just about the sport of wrestling and the referee side. And that's about every single video. I've said something to the effect of, for so long, wrestling has been hid in gyms on Saturdays, in gyms, on like a Tuesday, Wednesday. It's usually parents, grandparents, and maybe one or two girlfriends show up, but it's usually a very small crowd through the weekdays. Tournaments, of course, if you've ever been to a wrestling meet, you know that tournaments usually are, again, parents, grandparents. And it just, for so long, we've just kind of been an afterthought. And now with this series, we're able to bring out state champions. We're able to bring out the referee, the officials' perspective. And that's what this video is. So 2008, Rocky, I believe, is your first state tournament, correct?
I believe it was.
Okay, yeah. It's a long time ago, right?
Yeah. I don't remember the exact year. I believe that sounds right.
Years get away from us. But when you get the phone call, the whoever tells you, do you remember like how you felt when you first got notified that you're doing the state tournament for the first time?
Oh yeah, it was a level of excitement. I was really working hard trying to get there, and I actually had a heads up call from one of the other officials, and he said, "Hey, you're going to receive the email tomorrow from the man. He's going to invite you to do the state tournament." And I was, wow. He said, "Go and get yourself off work," because back then it was 3 days. So we had to get a few days off work to do it, and it was a rush.
And the year I got to officiate the state tournament, 2020, I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. Kind of knew, but didn't know officially. And I got the email. I forgot what day it was. Congratulations, and had the list of everybody that was on there. You, Andrew, Joe, Jason, Garrett, John, Jim Hardin, all those guys. And I called Balfour's down there in Louisville and ordered my first state champion, or my state tournament ring. And COVID hit, and I had to wait till like the end part of May to come down, and I had to go down in person and pick it up. And I went, I think it's on Blake and Baker Avenue or Blake and Baker Road down there in Louisville. and
Yeah.
they brought it out in like a the surgical mask, gloves, dropped it off in my vehicle, whatever. But I remember wearing that thing all the way home. I was so happy. So it's once you kind of get rewarded for your hard work, it's a great payoff in a lot of ways. But the match that you brought up wanting to do is a great match. It's on the channel. It's been reviewed by the guy that won it, Josh Johnson. It is Josh Johnson from John Hardin versus Caleb Ervin from Union County, 2008. Now, of course, Josh, two-time state champion, 08 and 10. Caleb Ervin, three-timer, 9, 10, 11, 2011 most outstanding. So, Rocky, we're going to go ahead and jump right into the match. And if you were never at the dungeon, and when we say dungeon, it was the Frankfurt Convention Center, Frankfurt Civic Center, something to that effect, one of those names. But it was called the dungeon. I forget the gentleman's last name, but it kind of rhymed with dungeon. And the lights were out, all but on the mat. The arena was dark, and I never got to officiate here. I wish we would have it at the horse park. As of this filming, we're filming this in November of 23. We're going back to the horse park for our boys and girls state tournaments. I wish we could have a lighting company sponsor it or something where we could put the spotlights on the mat like we had here, because it was just such a cool environment.
It was that was the perfect facilities for a state tournament. I mean, the quarterfinals, the semis, and then the finals, of course. It was intense. In 3 days. I mean, it was really intense.
It was a long 3 days. I went down 05 and 06 and watched all 3 days of it. And it's a long 3 days. But now we got the horse park, and the dungeon no longer exists. It got demolished, imploded probably about 5-6 years ago now. But this is your first state finals, your first state championship bout. I know you were nervous. It's all right to admit it, because everybody is on the. I don't want to say after you do it for a while you lose the nerves, but that first time jitters, if you will, had to be there.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't go away. I mean, you got to have nerves. You're going to have butterflies every time you go on the mat on a big match. It's just, if you're that invested into these kids, it's part of why we keep doing it. It's exciting for us as well. I mean, we want to do a good job.
It is so. We don't just sit around from the end part, like the mid part of February when the state tournament happens, until the week before Thanksgiving of the next year and do nothing. We are out going to clinics, reading, getting our new rule books, meeting with guys, having Zoom calls like this for discussion, going back and forth. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? So we put in maybe not as much physical work, but we put in as much effort as we can to make sure we're giving the kids the best versions of us that we can. And as you guys saw in Jason Sidoris' video, we're proud to say that the refereeing overall, the officiating in Kentucky has improved drastically over the last 10 years or so, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, we had we've had a lot of good mentors that mentored us, and I hope we can do the same to the next generation, because that's how you keep this thing evolving. We were blessed. We had some good guys that really helped us a lot.
Yep. So I've got it stopped here at a specific moment, because you're getting ready to walk out. The first time, you're under the lights. What's going through your head?
Oh, just don't want to mess up. We're just seeing that two quality wrestlers here. Obviously, I got to be honest. I didn't realize until you did the review with Josh that it was Caleb Ervin. That's how much my mind, I guess, was blocked from, the lights, the atmosphere. It's just like, I got to do a good job here. I want to get in good position, be vocal with the wrestlers, and there's just a lot of things that that go through your mind when you go out in a big match like that. And then being the first one,
Yeah.
It, there's butterflies to say the least. I don't care who you
I,
are. You're gonna have a little bit of nerves involved in it.
oh yeah. All right, Rocky man, here we go. Let me turn down the volume a little bit. So there you are. Back when we wore the black and white shirts, now we're in the grays, of course. So you're, you're kind of walking around, doing what you're supposed to, showing no control there. I would say it's is that Eric Friddle out there doing the
Oh
airplane?
yeah, we've come a long way since then.
Yeah.
You don't realize until you watch yourself some of the things that you not doing wrong, but the mechanics we've definitely
Right.
improved.
Yeah.
I believe that was Todd Coe assisting me on that.
Todd Cole, surely not.
I think that's who it was.
We'll have to send it to him or tag him when I post this. So both, like you said earlier, both guys are quality, multiple time state champion. Sometimes I'm not saying that they're easy, but these guys know what they're doing. You're not really gonna have to worry about like a locking hands or just rookie mistakes, but just good quality, high intensity wrestling.
Yeah, that's something you learn over time. Good wrestlers are easier to officiate.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see as we do this more, like you'll see, I'm a little closer to the wrestlers than I really probably should have been in the time. Something we learn to get comfortable, move back away from them, and because there's two quality wrestlers, like you said, we're not looking for penalties as much. We're looking for takedowns. They know what they're doing. They've done this before.
Yeah,
and they're smart. You can tell they're playing the line just right.
And you just hit Johnson for stalling, first stall warning. I believe that was a good call because he did kind of go out of bounds there. All right, so end of the period. Get your flip disc. It's Ervin's choice, and he defers. Look at Johnson, and he takes neutral. So go back here, back neutral. I believe the score is still 0-0. We're out of bounds, neutral. So, Rock, I think you kind of said it earlier, but, this is however many years ago now. You probably have some of the best mechanics now in the state. I don't want to say everybody else has bad, but having this example and then putting in a video or a couple examples that we saw of you in the 23 state tournament. I mean, you were doing what you're supposed to. Picture perfect like it could be in the NFHS a video library, way you're rewarding your points, your mechanics. So, I mean,
definitely come a long way on stuff like that. I mean, I've seen quite a few of these videos, and some of the stuff that we did, we definitely have improved a lot when it comes to our mechanics and positioning, just our overall officiating. And
just overall, man, we'll talk a little bit about overall officiating here towards the end of the video. But when I got to officiate the state tournament in 2020, my first time, I had the heavyweights. I had Matthias Ervin and the kid from DeSales, Deshaun Jackson, I believe. I held up the wrong hand, awarding points. I was so nervous. Had the
Yeah,
right call, just held up the wrong wristband, wrong hand.
I've done that plenty of times. Just
Yep.
you know, it could be a long day. Anything.
Yep.
I've done it.
And
All of us have.
the Union County had like a red trim on their singlet,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh no! And I got it was the right call, just the wrong hand got held up and able to get it correct without any issues. But I was like, I cannot believe I did that.
You feel like all the eyes are on you as soon as you
Yep.
do
Like,
that.
oh no!
But you got it right. I mean, you fixed it. And
All right. So into the period, and you gave like you're supposed right there. You knew it was going to be kind of let it burn there, and you give Johnson his one for escape. Ervin takes down.
I'm not sure the exact score. I think it may be like 5-2 or something. I'm not.
I've lost
Yeah,
track,
I've
Rock.
lost.
I have. So you give your one. We're neutral. So late in the third, knowing you got two quality guys out there, are you like saying anything? Let's go, fellas. You got a minute left. You got 45 seconds. Or what are we doing here?
I I would say I'm more than likely letting them know, what the time is, and I've always been big on trying to talk to the kids, the
Mm-hmm.
wrestlers, not coaching, but just letting them know what's going on. Five
Okay.
four,
5-4 with a minute 12 left.
with a stall warning at that, so
Yep.
it was a close match. I may tell them things like circle in, preventive officiating, and plus it makes me more comfortable with them out there, and
Mm-hmm.
um, I do talk to them a lot.
I'm the exact same way. I will. Uh, like that's a good phrase, preventive officiating, and I try the newer referees we got coming on board in my region. I'll tell them, say, hey, talk to them. Say, hey, you got 45 seconds. Hey, let's keep that legal right there. Hey,
It's
let's
like in a
let's work
position
for a
like that,
takedown.
I'm in a position where there's no takedown yet. I'll be saying things like I got nothing, I got nothing. That way the kid knows,
Yep.
both of them know to keep fighting. Sometimes they can't hear if they scored or not.
Yeah. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. And that's the end. Johnson wins by a final score of 7-5. Like we said, don't feel bad for Caleb. He goes on and becomes a three-timer. So, I think he done all right for himself.
I'd say he did. He was a
And
stud.
there you go. Your first time you get to raise a state champion's hand, and this is where Rockman watching that one back first time. Kind of talk us through it.
Well, like I said, getting the call up to being getting the call that I was going to be at the state tournament was just I put a lot of work into it, and it felt great. The rush getting there. I actually had gotten sick that week by the day before, and first 2 days I was under the weather,
Yeah.
and I got through it by the end of Friday, and Friday's already. That was those Fridays were so long. There were so many
Yes.
matches. Came in Saturday, felt great, and um, I was I was I actually received two finals matches that year, which is something a lot of times the first year officials didn't get.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess I did okay, and then I was brought back. It was just like I said, that civic center, the atmosphere, finally getting there just felt it was like a huge relief. But now I got to perform, and
Yep.
not that I'm performing, but I mean I have to do my part and do a good job for these kids, and you get into that quarterfinals, and that it's just, I always said I thought the quarters were just amazing in the Civic Center. The
Yeah.
semis, they were great, but they were over so fast.
Mhm.
Um, and then the finals with the lights and the crowd, it was just and it was just an awesome feeling. My kids got to come down and watch, and that felt good because we're a wrestling family. We've
Right.
we it's just what we do. I mean, it's I don't know. I'm still doing it because I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just I love the sport. Most of my friends are my wrestling family. It's
Right.
just
And how many state tournaments have you done in your career so far?
that was my first one, and I've been back each year since. I haven't done a count.
Okay.
Never really kept count of them. So I'm not exactly sure. '08 to 23.
I got you. So you've done, I don't even, what would that be? 16 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about it like that. It just, it's not something I expect. I mean, every time I've gotten that email, it's the same feeling. It's just an honor. It's an honor to be able to do it. And, it's just, it's still a love I have. I mean, it's just something I can't explain really.
I got you. And like you said, you're a wrestling family, of course. Your son Blake, he's refereed the past two as of this filming, past two, 22 and 23. And I believe Austin now, is he at St. X still
No,
coaching?
he's going into full-time officiating this year.
Oh, Austin is?
Yeah, he knows where he's
Oh,
needed. He it he loves the coaching part, but I think he knows this is where he's really needed at right now.
I
So he's
got
going
you.
to give us all he's got and work a full schedule officiating. And it was
Well,
pretty cool. I hope to work a tournament with him, and it'd be cool to work with both of them.
breaking news here on the channel. We didn't know that Austin was going to be officiating. I did not know that. So breaking news, man, breaking news. So we kind of asked Jason. Well, not we kind of we did. We asked Jason Sidoris the question. We're going to ask all the guys that are currently officiating for. We know in Kentucky, boys wrestling is growing, girls wrestling is just starting, but there's already several teams, several coaches, association, state tournaments. So the girls wrestling isn't as big as boys yet, but there's what I'm getting at with that is there's a lot of new people coming into the sport, whether it's parents, grandparents, guardians, school administration, whoever it is. Give the people that are new to the sport, a few little pointers that you'd like for people that people should know, that you would like people to know coming into a meet or a duel or whatever.
Well, first thing is if you get a young kid into wrestling, um, don't ever build the whole success around wins and losses. It's wrestling is a tough sport, and as it is, and to add the pressure of winning to a young child, even though this is it's a tough sport, but always get them to learn how to improve. That's one thing. That's the first and foremost. I mean, you can burn a kid out early on in life.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, be ready for long days. I mean,
Yeah.
parents, and they're going to some of these gyms 8 o'clock. They're there at 7:30. For weigh-ins at 8 o'clock, and we sometimes don't finish up until 7, 8, sometimes 9 o'clock at night. It's a long day, so it's a marathon. But find a way to enjoy it. That's the main thing. You can burn out so quick the earlier you start in any sport, especially
Mm-hmm.
wrestling. But find a way to enjoy it, and don't be afraid to step away just for a short period of time. If you need to take a break, um, it's just I don't know. Wrestling is one of the greatest sports there is, and it helps with other sports. Obviously, we've seen that with football, but it's just it's unique in its own way.
It is. You're very good point. And that's the being patient part.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, that I know that I went to school with, maybe a little bit older than me, got kids in wrestling now. And last season they had like with other sports, baseball, football, basketball, soccer, it moves, boom, boom. Like, the clock's ticking. There's no like really waiting around. And with wrestling, you got to wait for your weight class. If you're in a bracketed tournament, you got to wait for your weight class to be called. If you're at a duel with like two mats and there's three teams or whatever, a try going on, whatever it is, trying to piece some teams together, trying to make like a JV squad, go up like multiples at different weights or whatever. You get there and it's like, why aren't we wrestling? Why isn't my kid up yet? Why isn't this going on? You got to explain. That's not the way wrestling works. We have to go through all the weight classes, and then we have to get our our quarters, then we get our semis, then we get our constellations. So that's a good being patient and just understanding that with track wrestling, a lot of schools now are very proficient with track. Even with track, it does take some time to get through everything. We're not having to go to a chalkboard and handwrite or.
That's what I was going to bring up, because at least with track wrestling, now you have an ideal. I mean, my first tournament, I weighed in at probably 8:15, didn't wrestle until about noon, didn't wrestle again until like 4 o'clock, I didn't wrestle again until about 6, and get out of it till 10 o'clock at night. And, it's like, when am I going to be up? Yeah. And, know what round they were in. And when you said track wrestling, I'm like, that at least gives you a little bit of an ideal. You can look on your smartphone. Okay, I probably got 45 minutes.
Yeah. And that's a really good tool. Now, talk a little bit to the newer officials, first year officials coming from a veteran like yourself, one of the faces of Kentucky officiating. What is something that you would want newer officials, less than 5 years officials in? Give them a little bit of advice on what you wish you would have known when you started.
When the thing about when I started, we were blessed with a good group of officials that had patience with us and gave us time. We had David Barnett, Joe Catan. I'm going to miss people. David Walterman down in Lexington, even a time or two with him. Larry Mann, he helped a lot, which he was our signer. What we didn't have that we have now is the technology of texting. So I would say to the new guys, you get some of these veterans' numbers and you text them, find out where they're at, go watch them, go shadow them, aggravate them, get them to come watch you. I every Wednesday night, anywhere that's close to Louisville, if I'm not reffing, I generally go watch one of the young guys, during the wrestling season, obviously. But find somebody and just, pick the brain, communicate with them. And don't just find one, find 2, 3, that the more people you can absorb some knowledge from, and just that's one of the best things to do. And then, just don't take things personal from the coaches. Sometimes they're probably more invested in these kids than we are. I mean, they're with them every day, and sometimes they just let their emotions get the best of them. Don't take it personal. Yeah. It's just, some of my best friends are coaches who, when we first started out, we did not see eye to eye. I mean, we butted heads, and we became good friends. We got through that, and it's just, young officials, they get ran off early. They take things personal, and then they just don't take advantage sometimes of some of the things that are around them. Which we have a good group of mentors that will give their time to help these young officials out.
Yeah, and that's going back to, you had, rest in peace to Mark Shoemate. I think Mark was instrumental to a lot of guys there in Louisville. And I started on YouTube with the rule series, the high school wrestling rule series. And when I started in the 03-04 season, I had nobody on this end of the state to help me. Nobody. I mean, the closest referees were Lexington, your Waltermans, your Mike Fords, your Friddles, all those guys. And when I started the series, the rule series, I done it in a way that I was kind of like being the person that I needed, being the person to other people that I needed when I started. Okay, what's the difference between a caution and a stall? What's the, I knew what they were in the book, how to call them, how should I say it? What's the rules? Where is that in the rule book? What's the difference between, this and unsportsmanlike and unnecessary roughness? Just little things like that I had to learn on my own.
Yep.
And I had to go to practices for some teams because I couldn't, I wasn't getting to do a whole lot of meet. So I had to go over to like Johnson's practice and just referee round robins. Just say, hey, coach, my coach, Darren Gamble, and Coach Jim Matney was there. I'd say, Coach, do you mind if I just referee some of these round robins, some of the wrestle offs, just so I could get practice? So that's a good one. And I like what you said about not taking things personal. There's a couple officials that I know for a fact that reached out to me and said they're not signing back up this year because of the way they were treated at X tournament or Y tournament, or the way so-and-so coach said this or whatever. And Dave Barnett, in his video, he said, I asked him the same question, and he said, coaches, don't eat your young.
Yeah.
Don't eat the young. So if you are a veteran coach or head coach of a team or whatever, even an assistant coach, whatever the case is, and you have, whoever your officials are, maybe they just blow one. Maybe they just completely just miss it. Instead of, blowing up on them, reach out to a veteran official, maybe that's there that day. We're easy to find on Facebook. Reach out to us. I'm sure you guys have our number or friends with on Facebook. Just reach out to us. Hey, so-and-so ref, this was what happened. They blew it. Can you please help them before, I have an aneurysm or something to that effect? Because if younger officials are making mistakes and we're not there to help them and the coaches are just blowing up on them, we can't fix that.
Yeah.
We can't do much to say, okay, we got told this. Let's see, bring you to like a meet, a duel, whatever. Now show me what happened. Just walk me through the process. Okay, yep. The rule changed this year. That may have been the rule 5 years ago. I'm not sure where you got your information from, but now, if you got this point of contact in, guess what? You're in bounds. Simple as that. Let's make sure that we call it right from now on. So just little things like that. I'm sure you guys have saw watching this, but the KHSAA has put out since about September, we need wrestling officials. I put out my updated version of my referee recruitment video. And it's not I guess it's a good problem to have when the number of boys teams and girls teams are growing, but the number of officials are dwindling.
Not keeping up. Yeah, we're not. Our growth's not keeping up with the demand, and it's going to show this year. I mean, it
will, and unfortunately, I'm sure in the Louisville area and my end of the state too, and I'm sure everywhere. But there'll be some high school meets that get canceled or moved to a different date just because we just don't have enough referees to go around, and I hate that. But I mean, until we can solve the equation of why we're not retaining referees, it's probably going to be like this for a little bit. But Rocky, man, we've covered a lot of ground, but you have anything you'd like to add, say, take away for the greater good or the greater negative before we put a bow on this one?
I want to thank you. I mean, I've watched almost every bit of the series. I'm behind on a few of them, but it's really I love what you're doing. You really brought some recognition to Kentucky wrestling. We're not really known for wrestling, obviously. I mean, the rule stuff. We use that to help not just the young officials. I mean, we used it for ourselves, and we doing breaking down all the rules, and then your recruitment videos. I mean, it was awesome. I loved it. We used it at state tournament.
Yeah, it was. It was played.
I mean, So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for all the time you put into
Thank you.
doing this. And I'm honored that you reached out to me. I've just, I was just an average high school wrestler that, you know, fell in love with the sport, and you guys are my family. I mean that, and then I'm, uh, I'm glad to still be able to keep doing it I guess 24 years into it. I'm glad I'm able to still keep doing it. So
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you. And, thank all the coaches and stuff for, accepting me into this. And it's really all I got. I mean,
Yeah, no,
honestly,
no, I think that's a great way to wrap this one up. So guys, thank you for watching. Be sure when you see Rocky to yell at him loud as you can. I'm sure he'll greatly appreciate it. Call it what was it? The the Rock. You need to get a shirt. The Rock says, and that be your catchphrase. Every time a coach takes you to a table, The Rock says, like
yeah.
the professional wrestler, The Rock says, Coach, he was out of bounds. The Rock says he wasn't at 45 degrees. So that needs to be your catchphrase from now on.
Let me get a logo and put on the shirt.
You should. That should be on the back of your shirt. You need to say The Rock says. I think that'd be perfect. That'd be a great addition to the uniform. But guys, thank you all for watching. That's all we got, and we'll see you on the mats.